Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Jeremy Scott Fitness Podcast Review Show, coming to you on this Monday here with an episode titled Money Can't Do This. And I'll dive into the episode here in a second, and I'll make this as quick as I can because I am riding the struggle bus super hard today over my exhausting weekend, which I'll share with you guys. But before I say that, today is January the 20th, 2020. Crazy. 2020, man. It is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day today, and I just want to touch on this super fast. All of you obviously know his impact that he's had in the world, and hopefully making you see things from a different point of view and accepting people who are different from you, which on a side note, I really never understood why we hated people or looked down upon them because they had different skin color or they believed in different religion or different sexual orientation, because my natural feeling was, I don't give a shit. Like, what do I care what other people choose to do? As long as they're not hurting the world and other people, it's their life. They can live it any way they want to, and I want them to all be happy. I don't know if any of us are naturally born to just like dislike other people for no reason. I just don't naturally feel that in my body, and I don't know if other people do either. I believe that's learned behavior from just ignorance and not understanding. And so obviously, Dr. King has had a huge impact on my life and the way that I look at other people. But the thing that was probably the most impressive was just how he led from the front. And it wasn't just what he would say, it was why he was saying it. And when you look at what he was able to do in the pre-internet era, it blows my fucking mind, man. Like, I've done a lot of events for giant corporations and myself. And to see him and do, I have a dream speech and drop the mic on that, just literally straight fire. But to get tens and tens and tens of thousands of people to show up at the right time, on the right day, in the right place, with no podcast, no email, no Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Tumblr, Twitter, TikTok, you name it. It's insane, right? Like, anybody out there who's an entrepreneur, or like if you do fitness, like, and you've done an event, do you know how hard it is to get people to show up and notice things? And we have all these tools at our disposal, yet he had a bigger crowd than any of us will ever have show up to an event with none of these things. And that's a testament not just to what he was saying, but again, why he was saying it and how he lived his life and led from the front. And for lack of, a better way to phrase it, like, he gave up part of his life for a movement that was much bigger than himself, because he saw such a glaring problem and need, and that people were looking for this paradigm shift to switch their mindset and hopefully live life a different way, where you could all be treated as like, equal humans across the board. And now, are we all perfect today? No, by no means are we. We have a lot of shit to do. We have a lot of things we can improve on to accept each other for our differences, but I think we've made, huge strides from just 200 years ago, if you want to look at history. But shout out to him, man, because he did it all in a time when nobody else was doing it at that scale. And it really is just impressive and a testament to him. And so he'll never be forgot, and even if I can give him, 5 minutes on a podcast as a shout out, and hopefully you guys got the day off work to do some shit you love with people you enjoy. And that's what it is, man. And just to be mindful of other people who are different from you, because regardless of how different we all are, we all have basically the same 6 basic human needs, to feel safe and secure. And it's important. And the work he did will never be forgotten. That's literally a legacy that I don't think you could ever ask for. And if you ask me if I could have 5 people at a dinner table, dead or alive, to share a meal with, to ask questions, he definitely would have a seat at the table, man, because it's mind-blowing to even think about how he's able to do it in that era, because we can't do it now with all the technology and tools that we have. Can you imagine the impact he would have had if he had fucking Instagram, if Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had a podcast, if he had YouTube? Just truly, truly amazing. So with that said, I am on the struggle bus today. My weekend was packed full of stuff. Again, we had Trish Stinson on the podcast on Friday, breast cancer survivor, Jeremy Scott Fitness athlete, just all around badass. If you guys should listen to it if you have not yet, because I think at this point all of us have had somebody touched by cancer, whether it be directly or indirectly, 1 or 2 people away. And for all the stuff I did know, a lot of stuff I did not know, especially about her and her story. We could have made it probably a 3-hour episode. Her and I stayed here afterwards, probably about an hour just chatting even more down the rabbit hole. But she dropped a lot of just things for you guys to hear on there, which will give you a little bit more insight to what people go through and what it entails and what it's like from her side of the fence. And I learned a lot, admittedly a lot more than I thought I would. And so it's a great episode that you guys can get a lot of value from. So we did that Friday night. Saturday was up at work early as hell. And my wife and I had to organize our taxes. Not even do the taxes, because we're not equipped to do that, because school only taught me how to do parallelograms. School never taught me how to do taxes. So thank you again, educational system. But I joke. But organizing them at this point, because of all the stuff we do, it's just such a pain in the ass. And I hate doing adult stuff. It's so boring and it just sucks. But it's, a necessary evil, I guess, if you will. So we organize our taxes to get sent off to the CPA firm that does all the work for us. But that took about 6 hours of my day. And thank God for my wife. Otherwise, I would just be struggling right now. So Heather, thank you for that. I know it is not fun. It's probably one of our most dreaded days of the year. And albeit the Conor McGregor fight was the same night and was super late, and so I went over to my homie's house and we watched that, all 40 seconds of McGregor knocking Cowboy out, but well worth it. But I didn't go to bed till like midnight, and so I still feel like just a bag of shit today because I had to be here early Sunday, and I'm going to head home here and take a nap, hopefully, or just go to sleep at probably 6 p.m. But I have to make time for stuff like that, and that's what I'm kind of digging on here, is just spending more time with, your friends is super important, and your family, however you guys want to splice it. And for a long time, I've had to give up stuff like that, and I still do. If you want to have the audacity to live a 1% life and be an entrepreneur and be your own boss and do what you want and go where you want when you want to do it and make the kind of money you want to make and have the juice, if you will, it requires great sacrifice. It requires you being lonely. It requires you giving up a lot of, what I call normal human shit that's really fun to do, because you want to do something very few people can. You know how hard it is to start a business and run a business by yourself? Almost all of them fail. Almost every single one of them fail. And within 1, 3, 5 years, almost all of them. And it doesn't mean like once you get past 5 years, you're going to be more successful and you made it. In fact, the longer you're in this game, the more likely you are to close up shop. It's probably the only thing, the longer you do it, the probability of you failing just goes up and up and up, because you have to maintain it over and over. I think a lot of people are confused. Well, if you start a business and you just grind for 3 or 5 years and it's just on autopilot. No, bro. Like, if you want to build it, you got to die to build it, and you got to keep dying to sustain it. And it takes this level of motivation and energy that I think very few people can match. And you can build a system and a team for sure, but you got to lead from the front, man. And it's hard to do. And the point of me sharing that is not to make me sound like I'm awesome, because I'm not. I'm just a dude who's just stupid enough to do this life. But I gave up a lot of those things over the years, way more than most people ever would, to build this to where it is today. And what I found is, as I get older, you miss those things, and they're super fun for you to do, and they're healthy for you to do, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. Maybe not physically, because my friends are into drinking and doing stuff that's probably not super healthy at scale, and the food to boot, but all the other stuff, it feeds your soul, and mentally it gives you a release. And some of the most fun times I have now as I get older, I realize are, doing podcasts for you guys and writing and sharing and coaching and meeting you guys and all the messages you send. I'm forever grateful. But just sitting there and watching a fight, and we still have deep talks because we're older now, we have more gratitude and perspective on the world, and some of our talks go down a deep rabbit hole of life and things like that. But a lot of it's just watching a fight, or watching the Vikings, football games, or watching, college basketball or the NBA playoffs, and just bullshitting about the fights or sports or hip hop, and reminiscing about our past and all the stupid shit we did, and the fact that we're not dead and in fucking jail. We do joke about that stuff a lot, but that stuff matters. And all the achievements and awards and, status and money, they can't buy that shit. Money in a fancy house, in a nice car, in designer clothes and shit cannot replace that time with my friends. And so I'm not telling you not to grind and not to hustle. And I don't know where the work-life balance is for you guys, like where you draw the Mendoza line of what's important, what's not important, because I cross that shit all the time. And I want to do something that is impactful and matters. And I get sometimes, even for me, I'm guilty of it. I get lost in it. But what really matters is me spending time with my friends and family too. So my goal in 2020, as I'm approaching some financial milestones and certain things, is to really just spend more time doing shit I love with people I enjoy, because my life is too short not to. And that's why I say it to you guys, because it does fucking matter. And that phrase cuts a lot deeper for me than you realize. And sometimes I say it as just a reminder to myself, like, hey, asshole, you've helped 1 million people in the world enough. Go help your 3 friends have fun on a Saturday night. So that shit matters too. And so that's kind of the tie in today's podcast, is that money can't do everything. And money can't do this. And when I say that, I mean your finances, your money, your wealth, your net worth, it doesn't make you a better human. It just doesn't. And again, I'm not against stuff, you guys. I love stuff. I love fancy shit. If I knew living in a $3 million house wouldn't stress me out and I could pay cash for it, I would do it tomorrow. If I knew, driving a brand new Raptor today, first of all, I'm not into buying new cars. I'm always too cheap for that. I always buy one or 2 years old. Let somebody eat the initial upfront cost. It's just smarter to do, even if you're a millionaire. That's just my 2 cents. That's just my own personal opinion. But if I knew driving a brand new Raptor today would be a blessing to me and not a burden, I'd fucking do it. If I knew it wouldn't stress me out and cause me more pain than joy, I would do it. So again, I'm not against stuff. My wife and I take amazing trips. We spend it on experience more than things, and I'm not against this shit. But however, living in a super fancy house, driving a super fancy car, rocking expensive jewelry, wearing designer clothes, none of that shit has the power to make you truly happy. It just doesn't. I promise you that. No, if you can afford it, you can pay cash for it, and you got money to fucking burn, and it is an absolute blessing, and you don't even think twice about doing it, it can bring you a little bit of sense of joy up front. I'll give you that. But none of those material things has the power to really make you truly happy at your fucking core. And that's what I'm driving at. Money doesn't change us. It just exposes us and amplifies who we already are. And I'm going to say that sentence again so you guys catch it. And I posted on Instagram the other day. Money doesn't change us. It just exposes us and amplifies who we already are deep down. So if you are a kind, giving, thoughtful person, money will highlight that. If you are an asshole, all money will do is make you a bigger asshole. This is the truth. I've seen it across the board time and time and time again. And again, I'm not against material things. But if you're out there listening to me right now and you're in a position where you think that getting wealthy and getting rich is going to solve all your problems and it'll make them disappear, and if you think that if I just had $1 million, you're going to find this sincere level of internal happiness, you're mistaken, you guys. Take it from me. I know from experience, like from being dead broke to being where I am today, I'm the same fucking person. Nothing has changed. Whether I drive a Ferrari here or my Honda here, it sits in the same parking spot. My day-to-day life is no different. So hear me when I say this. Money does not change us. It only amplifies and heightens who and what we already are. The takeaway is, if you're an awesome, kind, helpful human when you're broke, you're going to be an even more kind, grateful, awesome human as you acquire money along the way. And I'm going to do another podcast on how we're not just trading money for stuff, we're trading lifetime for stuff. And I understand we live in a financial world and we have to work and we have to do it to have a sense of security, to be able to retire when we're old as fuck and we're finished and we don't have energy to do stuff. But living a life predicated on chasing materialistic things and status and stuff, thinking that's going to fill your cup internally, It will not. I've seen it happen time and time again. I know millionaires, you guys, who are sad, broke, and depressed and lonely as shit. And I know people who are making an okay living, probably the median average American income, who probably have a little bit in retirement, probably have an emergency fund built, and they're just living life, but they have to be mindful of everything they spend and have a budget every single month, who are happy as shit. They have perspective, they have gratitude, and they're jacked as fuck. So my takeaway for you, and my point of saying this is just, no matter where you are today with your finances and your money, be grateful. Have perspective. Don't live outside your means. Don't live a life just chasing stuff and status and accomplishments and achievements, because they don't make you as happy as doing shit you love with people you enjoy. And I mean that. And I don't know what lights you up, whether it's going on a hike, whether it's, snowboarding, whether it's paddleboarding, whether it's going to a ball game, whether it's hanging out with friends, whatever your thing is, those are the things that are going to matter the most. Those are the things that, as you get older, I think you're going to realize time and time again, bring you the most laughs, the most smiles, the most happiness, and the most internal fulfillment. It's probably not going to come from you having another 1,000 square feet of house. It's probably not going to have, you driving the newest version of the Benz. It's probably not going to come from you having the newest shoes and the newest bag. Maybe it does. I don't know, but it's been my experience, the things that I remember the most, the memories I cherish, are the experiences I've had with the people who matter the most to me. And I think it'll be the same for you. So just my quick rant today on how you spend your time and in the pursuit of money and things, and where you draw the line with that balance and what that means to you. But if you're out there listening and you're chasing something that's just a monetary dollar amount, what you are going to find at the end of that is very deflating, and it is very unfulfilling unless you enjoyed the entire journey along the way. But if you gave up all this time with friends, all this time with family, all these other experiences just to get dollars in the bank, it is a really empty place to be there. And I've seen it here for the last 10 years personally, and I think that's what you guys will find as well. So have money, get money, make money, but don't do it at the cost of everything else. That's the takeaway. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Just my quick rant here on this Monday. If you are on iTunes right now, stop. Don't be a lazy ass. Open up the podcast app on your iPhone. Scroll all the way down. Drop me a 5-star. Leave me a comment. I truly would appreciate it. If you're on your MacBook or your iPad, same thing. iTunes icon, click ratings and reviews. 5-star, leave me the sentence. I would appreciate you guys for that. And later this week, or next Monday, I got Alexia Clark coming on the podcast, and I might even drop one with my wife this weekend as well, depending on what we have going on. But I'm super busy. I do have a Q&A from you guys that I will get to, but it's been a crazy week. And but I want to drop you this one today just for the fact that this is on my mind, and it matters to me. And I think a lot of you guys out there, if you're hustling, you're grinding, and you're doing things, I know it's important. I know you have to do it, but literally make time for the people and the things that matter the most to you and that make you the happiest. And that doesn't have to be the way that I do it. It can be your own version of escapism, and maybe that's just being by yourself and, just doing what I call normal human stuff once in a while. And it's good for your mind, it's good for your heart, and it's good for your soul. And I know we don't talk about that enough in society as people, but I just know every time I get to hang out with my friends, and what I mean is, I have a lot of friends, and there's all different levels of friends, right? But the ones who have been with me since day one, the ones who never really gave a shit what I could do for them, the ones who knew me before I was quote unquote Jeremy Scott Fitness, the ones who knew me, when I was just a dipshit fucking knucklehead and we're all just trying to figure out life together. Those are the guys when I just spend time and we bullshit and we just escape, our normal, hustle of life. That shit lights me up, man. And I admittedly, I don't do it enough. And my pledge in 2020 is do it more and more and more, and squeeze in that time whenever possible, because it does matter. And money can't buy that. Success and, fame and likes and follows and all those things don't even compare to it. Not even in the slightest. And I think if you guys really are honest with yourselves, you'll find yourself in the same boat. And so with that said, make sure you guys keep doing shit you love with people you enjoy, because your life is too short not to. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.